Welcome, guys, to another Co-founder Wisdom podcast with Alex Hay. He's co-founder at Coursebox AI. He's a growth marketer focused on SaaS product marketing. Coursebox is a pretty cool AI course creation product we're going to talk about today. This pod is presented to you by podpire.com. If you want to start or scale your own podcast, go to podpire.com. Alex, welcome to the pod. Tell me a bit more about yourself and what you're up to nowadays.
Thanks, Charles. Yeah, great to be here. So my name's Alex. I'm the head of growth at Coursebox. So essentially, Coursebox is an AI-powered course creation tool. My background is primarily in growth marketing for software, and basically with Coursebox, we are solving the problem of simplifying the process of building training courses. So it kind of started a while ago when we were building training courses, these really high quality courses for like universities and government organizations. And we were finding it was in most cases taking months of work. So it's a huge project just to make one high quality course. And that really led us to think, okay, how can we speed up this process? And when AI came along, particularly technology like ChatGPT, it really made us go, wow, this could, if we could apply this to building training courses, um, it's so much potential to speed up the process. And so with Coursebox, we're building technology with AI to firstly design the structure of your training course. So you have like an AI assistant to structure your course, and then write all your text pages, your assignments, your quizzes, even grade students when they submit their assignments as well. And we're looking at other sort of generative AI solutions as well, like video and audio and that sort of thing. So it's a super exciting space. I think education in general is one of those industries that generative AI can just so obviously be applied to with generative AI and really solve a lot of the problems that are going on. Yeah.
Are people still consuming courses? Is courses the evolution of being in a classroom? Is that one of the best learning mechanisms there are out there?
Yeah, I think there's certainly different learning styles and mechanisms. So I guess there's pros and cons to every sort of different way of learning. So in a classroom, it really depends. Like maybe there might be one teacher and 30 different students. And if the students are all completely different and have different learning styles, that makes the job for the teacher extremely challenging. Firstly, they've got to do a heap amount of preparation for the class. And then in order to make the content personalized for each student, that becomes extremely difficult when you're just one person, right? And one student might have a certain question, and you might be busy because you're just one person as well. So what AI is great at doing, two things to address this, is it's very capable of personalizing content. So it's great at taking in all the different sort of data sets around the attributes of a specific person and making that content really niche and personalized for that person. And then it's also, because it's technology, it's scalable, right? So you're seeing things like teacher and tutor chatbots start to emerge. Um, and this is something that we're putting in Coursebox as well. So what that provides is the ability to understand the learner, cater the content to them, answer questions personalized to that learner basically instantly. So if you're a teacher that's busy, maybe, sometimes you might not be able to get back to a question for a couple of days. Whereas AI is incredibly good at just getting back instantly, being able to scale and get super personalized to that individual as well. And then in terms of the online side, I think, yeah, again, it just depends on the learner. So some people really like to, or it depends what they're learning, but some people prefer to learn kind of in their own time. Um, maybe they're a little bit more introverted and just want to kind of go through the content without necessarily sort of being like speaking sort of face to face with a person constantly. So it really depends on that person, and it goes back to that, yeah, ability to personalize the learning for each individual.
Interesting. And on the production side of thing, if I'm a creator, you can take most of my content and magically improve it, structure it, and make it a course. How good of a product, of an end product, would that be for my potential customers?
I think, yeah, so if you're talking about if you've got a course and then you sort of enhance it with AI, is that what you're, yeah. So I think, yeah, if you've got a course and then you're enhancing it with AI, I think it depends a lot a lot on sort of what your the quality of your initial course is as well, and how, yeah, what you're sort of aiming for. There's certainly a lot of different factors in that. I think one thing that's really exciting is there's a lot of regulated sort of educators like universities and even practical educators that need to keep their training and education up to date. So it goes out of date very quickly. Things like technology, um, regulations, scientific evidence, all these things sort of change over time. So what you kind of need is some technology to maintain your coursework, sort of like scan the web or whatever sources there are for your course content, and automatically make those updates, or at least notify you that updates are required. And so I think that's something that I'm really excited about in terms of getting AI to uh, speed up and automate a lot of that course maintenance.
And does it learn from the feedback of people that watch the course? Because sometimes I have something in mind, but my users, they either don't appreciate that, they think it's useless, they think I'm not getting to the point, you know? So how can AI tailor the course according to the end user?
Yeah, that's a really good point. I think there's not really much out there right now that's doing this, but I think there's certainly a strong potential for it, a system to essentially like take in the analytical feedback or the engagement of a student, and then go, okay, this is not working for that person. Maybe like later in the course, we're gonna switch things up. They're not really enjoying visual stuff. Let's make it words instead. But then there's also the side of, okay, maybe the content just isn't enjoyed by anyone. And then that turns into, okay, we need to either, notify the course creator this content is performing like poorly. Um, I think that's a fairly like basic kind of feature that a lot of programs are doing now, but in terms of actually automatically changing the content for every single individual learner while they're going through the course, um, I think that's sort of something we're going to start to see a lot in the future.
What do you have on the growth map in terms of strategies to use to acquire more clients?
Yeah, so for us, I think from a growth perspective, it's always good to um, firstly be going out and testing lots of different things, but then also keeping in mind, okay, what is working for us, and can we, maximize the value of what is already working for us? So what's working for Coursebox as like from the marketing side, SEO has been really big for us. So we're ranked number one in the world for a bunch of different search terms like AI course creator. So we've been able to get into those very high intent sort of search terms that basically lead to generating clients for us without having to pay for them. So that's great. Um, and we're basically looking to grow that as much as we can. So at the moment, I'm basically transferring our website from Wix over to Webflow, mostly because of Google performance limitations with Wix. So there's things called core web vitals, which Google essentially says, okay, yep, this is like a metric and another metric and another metric for user experience. And it's very, very difficult to pass these things. But if you do pass them, Google will essentially say, okay, the user experience that you're providing your website visitors is really good. And they'll essentially sort of start to rank you higher for a lot of the search terms that you're going for. So that's been a big project that I've been focused on the last couple weeks. So that new website will be coming soon. And then yeah, in terms of other things, we are just sort of trying to test as much as we can. You know, being an early stage startup, it does make these things difficult when you don't have like a huge amount of budget to play with. But I think testing with platforms like Google Ads and Facebook Ads is still possible on like a pretty small budget. So you can start to sort of test with different advertising platforms, especially to try and get handle of what messaging resonates with clients the best. And in addition to that, on your really sort of high traffic pages. So for us, our homepage gets the most traffic. So running experiments like split tests with different messaging to see what can result in higher sign up rates from that page. But if you know if there's any sort of like startup people listening to this that want to sort of look more at growth marketing things, when you are doing split tests on your website, if you're a startup, you probably need to do two versions that are extremely different to get a conclusive result. If you're just sort of changing like the color of a button or like one word or something, you're much more likely to get to a result in a few months where you're like, I still haven't actually found statistical significance between the two different versions. So the main thing is when you do sort of a split test, if you're like still a fairly early stage company and you know your traffic is still kind of growing, make sure you are making two different versions that are like very, very different to each other. Because I mean, it's still beneficial if you can get one version to say, okay, that one failed, even if it's a fail, you want a conclusive result if possible, so you can learn as much as you can. Yeah.
On the side of launching a new AI startup, how can you compete against like YC startups that are also like starting to AI? Like, do you often think about that?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think um we we personally started our business several years ago. So I think for us, we've kind of had a bit of a head start. We initially developed the product as a learning management system and then sort of pivoted into course building. And then we've done another pivot into AI course creation. Um, so we've had several years of product development kind of behind us before we've gone in. So I think from that respect, yeah, sure, there's some very talented people out there that get into YC and then they're backed with that investment and they're surrounded by some very knowledgeable and talented people and investors. So I think being a YC startup founder is it's definitely sort of a great position to be in. Um, yeah, for us, I think we've got that head start, and that's kind of our advantage. Sure, you know, we think about the competition, but I think on this journey, you can't over obsess on the competition as well. You've got to just keep working and working away, and I think that's a big part of growing a startup is the commitment and perseverance to make it happen.
So, what does your day to day look like?
My day to day, I think, you know, usually I'll kind of start with looking at things like analytics. So like what's our website traffic looking at like? What's our sign up numbers looking like? If I'm running any sort of experiments on advertising on the website, I'll, look at sort of how those are going. And then I'll generally kind of get straight into, okay, what am I going to achieve today? Um, and what are the kind of top priorities to make this business grow, or what I think is going to potentially grow the business. And a lot of the times, like I said, that might be experimental. So it might just be sort of trying something. And I think one thing that can get you ahead of the competition in the long term um is failing. So from a growth perspective, like if you can fail, 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 and then you eventually hit a win, that's like a really great business strategy, in my belief, to have, where you're constantly sort of innovating and looking for the thing that's going to make you better. And even when, as I was saying, even when you are failing something, if you've gotten that feedback, that's just going to put you in a better position where you're actually more knowledgeable about your market or your messaging, or whatever it is, than you were before. Um, and I'll also kind of have some meetings throughout the week with customers, and also our like developers and CEO, particularly around sort of like where the product's going as well.
What are your top goals for this year?
Oh, our top goals are really to substantially increase our big metrics. So things like um, website traffic. Um, I mean, revenue is like the big one. But I think with revenue, I try not to over obsess with it. Because I think that's kind of like always the end goal, and you want to really solve actual problems and provide like real customer value in your product to achieve that sort of like really long-term sustainable revenue. I think it can certainly be easy to over obsess on that. But yeah, no, main goals are definitely for me in my role, substantially increase the traffic to our website, increase signups. But then yeah, on the product side, really um, decrease our churn, increase retention, and start to really see that customer, that ideal sort of customer profile start to emerge for us, um, and move closer to product market fit, essentially.
In terms of all the new LLMs, are you bullish on Gemini, Grok, or Claude's latest model? I see you're still using ChatGPT. So, what were your thoughts on that?
Yeah, yeah. It's look, I don't think I'm the best person to ask on this. I think being sort of more the marketing side of the business, I'm probably not able to answer that question. But it is something that we're looking at. Um, I think it there's a lot of different models coming out, as you said, and they're all sort of changing. And some of them, from what I've been told, are better at certain things than others. So we're looking at a potential future where we're using multiple different models kind of together. And I think a lot of the high performing kind of AI companies, a lot of them are doing this, where maybe one, and you can see that in our product from, and the use case for it, where you've got to probably create videos, and then you've got to grade, and then you need to reference facts. There's all these sorts of different things, that one model may not necessarily be the best for all of them. And so I think that's kind of the main thing that we have to consider is there's all these different models coming out, each with their own sort of strengths, and which make them individual and good at various different things. And there's going to be, obviously, from a business perspective, there's different costs. Um, there's more challenging situations from a development standpoint or an easier implementation. So there's lots of things to consider that make sort of the model the best thing for one individual thing. Yeah.
Very cool, Alex. Where can people find out more about you?
Yeah, so they can check out our website at www.coursebox.ai, or you can hit me up on LinkedIn. So it's just Alex Hay with an E. Um, and we have a free version of Coursebox. So if you want to play around with the course creation tool, sort of make your first course for free, feel free to just jump online and yeah, try it out. And we're also available for demos as well. So you can book a demo with us online or watch one on our YouTube channel.